Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific. I apologise for being slightly late, but we did just finish covering South Africa versus New Zealand, which is why we were just running a little bit behind. But that game has come to a close. New Zealand just knocked the South Africans out of the competition, and we have got the moment's silence at the moment before the game, which does mean that we are actually on time. But I hope you guys are all doing extremely well. This game could be an extremely close one, or we might see a bit of a runaway. The way that the table sits currently, the Crusaders, they could sit top of the table at the end of this round, which is, exactly where they wanted to find themselves throughout last season. It didn't quite work out, but this year they've had a much better start. And just looking at the way that the table sits currently, of course, without a Chiefs or a Blues game this week, it means that the Crusaders have a great chance of advancing. Now, the Reds are also going to be playing a little bit later on tonight. They are up against the Western Force. So the Reds could also find themselves number one on the table if the Crusaders were to either lose this game or maybe not receive that bonus point, and the Reds do. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. We have got the Crusaders. Says Chris, I smell an upset, says Justin, and of course Ardie Savia back in this Moana Pasifika side, so it always looks better for them when he takes to the field. The countdown is on, and James O'Connor kicks us off for the first half of this contest. Nicely taken by Ardie Savia, who finds himself situated in that number 8 jersey today. Tamatini back into the pocket to William Havili, going head-to-head with his brother today. And that kick has gone just outside of the 22. Easy win for the Crusaders, says Chris. It should be, right? But, the Hurricanes thought that too up against Moana Pasifika, and they ended up losing. So, I feel like Moana, they're one of those teams that when they find their rhythm, like, don't get me wrong, they've conceded a huge amount of points throughout this season, but they have also scored their fair share of tries. Hotham, back in the starting lineup here for this one. Goes off to the left-hand side, finds Scott Barrett O'Connor starting. That's a good chance for him. Says Matthew, and I hope the ref penalised out of the Crusaders. Let's go, Ardie, says Drape and I, everyone. Says Judah, welcome in. Good counter-ruck coming from Moana Pasifika, and they have got themselves the turnover in the breakdown. Tamatine back into the pocket to Pellegrini. Gets a good amount of distance there. Close to a 50-22, and he gets it. And that is a sensational kick from Pellegrini. They were inside of their own 22. He gets it into the opposition. So that was a 22-22. Macca Springer bounce of the ball was about as ugly as it could have been, and it just managed to avoid the man all the way into touch. Trying to steal that one was Cullen Grace, but it's claimed by Moana Pasifika again. Short ball there out to Lalomilo. Tamatine. Moana Pasifika attacking from 22 metres out. Tamatini again goes across to Alan Craig and Black Caps New Zealand. Good series, says a Blues Nate. Could be a draw, says Country Guy. Yeah, of course. Draw would bring Golden Point, which we haven't actually had as of yet. It's been a while since I last came in, says Craig. Well, it is great to have you back. Ardie Savia going off to, I believe it is Vailanu. Back across. 10 metres out from the line. This is a patient build-up from Moana Pasifika. Not taking too many risks. And good to see O'Connor in the starting 15, says Chris. And also, hey Matthew, something funny just happened to me, says Judah. Going off to the right-hand side here. Samuel Slade gets within 5. Almost a clean steal from Cullen Grace. No advantage. Now for offside against, beautiful offload on the inside. Moananu, I believe, was the man who was penalised for that. Another advantage. And a pick and go that puts them just over the line. And Moana Pasifika strike first. That has already taken away the chance of a 0. It was Ardie Savia, of course, who pops up with the ball. Can't help but root for Moana Pasifika, says Sebastian. Ardie Savia, that will be his 3rd of the season. And just a flick pass on the inside from Jonathan Tamatine. And extremely close to that line, and then just going around the side with the pick and go. Let's go, ref, says Drape. And already 3.5 minutes have passed, and it has been a really fast-paced start. Crusaders in trouble, says Hanoi. I mean, they've conceded a try, but I wouldn't say they're in trouble. I mean, yes, it's not ideal, but just to bring it up, the Waratahs scored first up against the Hurricanes last night, and they went on to lose that game by about 45 points. So we are far from over. And this matchup, that kick has gone over from Patrick Pellegrini, and that means now score 7-0 in favour of Moana Pasifika. Got to find an appropriate sticker, says Sebastian. And I was trying to bet on the Crusaders on the spread. It's for $90, so I hope I win, says Judah. And Waratahs got smashed, says Hanoi. Yeah, they started well, but then unfortunately from there, just continued to go downhill. Jonathan Tamatine back into the pocket to Pellegrini. They've said it was outside, so isn't able to kick it into touch. Nicely taken it back from Will Jordan. It's another big game here, and he has certainly been a difference maker for the Crusaders throughout the season. Thank you very much, Seb, for your generosity of super stickers. Nicely done by Barrett. One moment, I'll quickly open this so I can see exactly what the sticker is. On the halfway line here for the Crusaders. Starting to build quite nicely. This is already close to the most phases they have had throughout this contest. Moana could win, says Country Guy. Is O'Connor playing 10? He certainly is. We've got the umbrella and the beach from Sebastian. Artie might be as hard as Jerry. Says Sai going back across to the right-hand side. George Bauer. Taking it low. Tackled by Alan Craig. Back across now to Cullen Grace. Miracle Faialangi look for the turnover and the breakdown, but it is going to be the penalty going against Moana Pasifika, not rolling away in time. Oh boy, wish you luck, Judah. And Moana could win, and let's go the Islanders, says Craig in there as well. James O'Connor just checking with his captain whether or not the decision is to kick for the corner, which I believe he wanted even before he had asked. So works out for him as he does put it only, oh, that's harsh. It looked like it was only 5 metres out from the line. He's gone back to about 12. So don't want to lose 2 big bets in a row, says Judah. Oh, well, it was good while it lasted, says Drape. Now chance here for the Crusaders. They will look for that rolling maul once again. No Cody Taylor in the starting lineup. Moananu will be the man in charge. And Moana looks like Gold Coast Titans jumpers, says Hanoi. It does have a few similarities, yeah. Moananu has got this ball, and that is just rolling really nicely to the try line. He scores it. And now Crusaders are back on the board. It did not take long for them to find their answer, only about maybe 3 minutes or so. And Artie is carrying, says Craig. But Ioane Moananu is the man who does get the try. Exactly what they were after. The counter-attack, answering back after getting themselves a penalty in their favour. A little bit of Queen playing around the ground by the sounds of it. Bollocks, says Sebastian. And we have good there. What did you think of the Landers game? I thought that the Highlanders, like honestly, at times they had some alright moments. But like to beat the Brumbies at GIO Stadium, you have to really perform. And at times they did, but you got to have a full 80-minute performance. And just, yeah. Anytime it's within 7 going into that last 15 minutes in Canberra, sides lose. It just seems to be the trend. It'd be funny if O'Connor gets Wallabies 10 spot from the Saders, says Hanoi. And also try time for the Crusaders. Let's go time to open the floodgates on Moana, says Matthew. And also matchup of the week is Richie versus Artie, says Craig. And there as well. Now nicely taken by Macca Springer, the youngster who already has many tries to his name, even though he's early on in the season. Same with Sevu Risu, who became the most capped or most tries scored for any player. Oh, it doesn't look like Reese is actually starting on that left wing. It's going to be Shea Fiaki. And when Crusaders says Ange, there's going to be like Noah, floodgates opening now. Sada's going to bring the pain now. I'm drunk lol, says Drape. Do you think Moana can get first this year? Honestly, no. But I do think that they have got 1 or 2 more wins up their sleeve before the end of the season. Currently, they have just got the 1 win, and it was over the Hurricanes. But they've had a few close games. Definitely up against those Aussie sides. Just tuned in. Which team is at home? The Crusaders. They've got home field advantage, playing at what was OrangeTheory Stadium, but now Apollo Project Stadium. Now line out throw. Moana. Cross now. Hotham goes into the midfield where they find Dallas McLeod and that number 12 jersey. Now nicely passed out wide. Macca Springer. Tries to offload it to Will Jordan, but he was in touch just. That means that it is going to be going back now. And W Moana says Craig. Why the name change with the stadium? Just sponsors, I guess, is the best way of describing it. Like every once in a while, a stadium will find a new sponsor that then takes over the main rights. It's a little bit similar to Twickenham, how it's now Allianz Stadium, but no one calls it that. Are there any other streams today, Hamish? There certainly are. We haven't scheduled them yet, but we're going to be doing 3 games of the URC. We've got the quarterfinals of the sevens, which is also coming up. And then all throughout tomorrow, we've also got the rest of the sevens. So, yeah, there's going to be probably about 7 more live streams that are scheduled in the relatively near future. Nice run forward from Dallas McLeod. We might even have the matchup where, is it South Africa are playing someone in the... Okay, it hasn't been confirmed as of yet, but I think South Africa are playing at around 9:30. So if this game is finished in time, we will quickly get that one scheduled. Is McLean dad for Saders related to ex-All Black McLeod? Wait, is McLeod dad for the Saders related to ex-All Black McLeod? As in like Dallas McLeod? I think there might be a tie in there. Currently on the halfway line, Moana Pasifika in possession here. Pellegrini puts it high. I'm eating tic-tacs while watching a live stream, says Country Guy. Which flavour of tic-tacs? And just like when Christchurch get the new stadium, it's going to be one New Zealand stadium, says Chris. And it's 8:11 or 8:18 in Cape Town, says Ruth. How's the weather? It's looking pretty decent, probably around maybe, I want to say 14, 15 degrees. So a really nice afternoon or late, early evening in Christchurch. And go Will, says Ange. And normally I would back Moana because I want Moana Pasifika to make the quarters, but now I back them to lose today, says Vaughan. Yeah, it will be a bit of a struggle for them to make the quarters from where they are, but they still are going to come into every game with that mentality of winning. 898 kgs for the Crusaders scrum compared to the 897 of Moana Pasifika. Right, referee telling both front rows to stand up. And full-on rugby get in. Yeah, plenty taking place, that is for sure. I went to the Highlanders game yesterday and came back from Australia disappointed, says Yeetie Bird. Yeah, they didn't quite live up to those expectations, the Highlanders, but honestly, like, they didn't do too badly. It's just really hard to beat the Brumbies when they're at home, and that is something that a lot of sides will factor in when it comes to getting closer to those playoff games. The last thing that you want is to have to head to Canberra. There's not many sides walk away from there with the win. It looks like they are going to take the quick tap again here. Artie Savia getting into the 22. Although over the ball was Ethan Blackadder, just losing his footing in the process. Sam Slade with the inside ball. Going to be dropped. In fact, they've said that it's gone backwards though, and there's a penalty advantage in favour of Moana Pasifika for a offside. Savia, quick hands, nicely done. On the outside, close to the sideline. For Samisi Paya. And Landers did some good tries. They had some really good moments. Caleb Tangitau once again looking like a superstar for them. Tamatine. Now off to the right-hand side again here. Oh, ball was almost stripped by Levi Amor, but in doing so, he actually gave Moana Pasifika a couple of extra meters. Now off to the right. Passing at a crossfield. Wide, and Will Jordan just drags him down. William Harvilli, 2 meters out from the try line. Now going short side. That was close for Danny Tuala. And they're going to have to check this one with the TMO. See whether or not he did get that grounding. But he worked extremely hard to try and stay in the field of play. On-field decision is a try, though, so that is something in the right direction. They just want to check whether or not he is in touch when grounding that ball. Did the Crusaders score? They did score earlier on with Moana Nu. Right, Tawala. Is Hotham done well? Oh, it's close, but the benefit might go to the defensive team here. Going to be very much inches in it. Bovril for breakfast, beefy goodness, and we have got there a lovely golf shirt. You're looking smooth, says Ruth. We did end up playing golf earlier on for George's birthday. So that is why we have still got it on. This is very close. And this angle, frame rate, isn't the best. I think that knee, the right knee might be out just in time for the Crusaders here. But the on-field was try. So there's also a chance that this might end up staying. I think he's going to be out first. Okay, he's in touch before the ball is grounded, so that is going to be no try, but they already did have the advantage, so they will be going back for it now. And happy birthday, George Ladd, and come on, people, happy birthday to George, says Ruth. We have got the donation from Sebastian D again. Thank you very much, mate. It is, of course, greatly appreciated. 13 minutes in at the moment here, and Pellegrini only 5 meters out from the line. Looks like they are going to go for that rolling maul again. So far, we have seen 3 penalties conceded by Moana Pasifika. That is the first one against the Crusaders. Hotham, it is great to see him back, of course, getting some moments for the All Blacks. Crusaders won the under-20s this year. Tears country guy. Like, that's the thing. They had a rough year last season, but they are looking a lot more like the Crusaders of old this season. And if they win this game, they actually move to first on the table, which is where they could find themselves staying for a little bit of time, up until maybe we see another New Zealand derby go wrong. For the Crusaders, that ball's going to be loose, but it's going to be another advantage in favour of Moana Pasifika. Only about a metre away from being able to score. Jonathan Tamatine passes off to the short side, and again 1 metre out for Samisi Pai. I think there's a pick and go from William Havili. Looks like he got picked up and thrown backwards. Now 1 metre still between them. Savia was about to pick it up, but I think someone went a bit early. It was Cullen Grace. Double blow the whistle, and he is now going to go to the bin for 10 minutes. Straight through, played the 9, or in this case it was Savia. And that is multiple infringements, says Angus Garner, even though that is only the second penalty against them, and Cullen Grace now going to the bin for 10 minutes. They would have given that try to the Crusaders, says IT Respect. And g'day, Hamish, hardest working man in rugby, says Studs Ray. Welcome in. Of course, we have still got plenty more coming tonight. We've got about 7 live streams that I haven't scheduled as of yet, including URC matches, which we are doing all throughout the night. In fact, from now, I am still going to be awake for, I believe it's another, I don't even want to do the maths, but it's going to be a long time. And not the homeboy, says Sebastian. And who got binned? It was Cullen Grace. Crusaders number 6, now Sanarevi, getting only a few metres out from the line. Moana Nu going off to Tawala. Bit of a slip there from Hotham, so probably lucky they didn't manage to pierce through. That's could have found themselves in a bit of trouble there, the Crusaders. Now a new advantage. I tell you what, they are giving away a lot at the moment, almost for Pipisana Patafilo. How did Artie get binned? He did not know. It was Crusaders number 6. Here comes Savia. He wants to score a try, and he's got it down, I believe. Yes, it has been awarded, and Savia gets his second of the contest. It sounded quite funny. Justin Marshall sounded quite hurt, and he said Artie Savia had no right to score that try. But he's probably right. Like, there were about 3 or 4 Crusaders in front, and he just spun around them and rolled over. Take that try off them, video ref. Says IT respect. Yeah, they'll probably check it for double movement, won't they? Which, is there an argument? Are the knees... Oh, he kind of does propel his knee forward, if we're being honest, but I think it should still stand. And the lead will go to Moana Pasifika now, 14 points to 7. I just saying about how Savia didn't play last week, and there was a big difference in the way that Moana Pasifika did play while Savia was absent. And I try Artie, come on the Crusaders, get your game on. Says Matthew. And we have there Hamish, you say those names so sexy. Says Ruth. Okay, Justin Marshall going on a little bit of a rant about Savia there, pretty much saying anytime he's within 5 or 10 metres, chop his legs out from underneath him, or else then you're not going to stop him. That one's going to be kicked into Dutch by Jonathan Tamatine. Has gone out, nicely done by the Moana Pasifika 9. And Moana Pasifika starting on time this week, and Artie Savia, boom, 14 men on a dead man's chest. Says Ruth, and welcome back, Artie. Says Vaughan, and yeah, was a relatively substantial part, you could say, mentally for them in their game up against the Hurricanes. Unfortunately, did get injured around that half-time, but that seemed to motivate the team even more. Whereas in this one, he's leading from the front. Looks so good in a Pasifika shirt. Not to say that the Hurricanes one isn't beautiful. I know it's your favourite. Says Sebastian, where's David Arveli? And needs to lead the guys like last weekend against the Blues. Well, he's not actually in the starting lineup. He was supposed to be starting at 12, I believe, but he was taken out late, if I'm not wrong there. So Dallas McLeod actually in the 12 jersey for this matchup, which is slightly unfortunate because for the thumbnail I had Harveli versus Harveli, and now he's not there. Penalty advantage for the Crusaders. Will Jordan going to be tackled well on the 22. Now, nicely done. James O'Connor does well to hang on to it. Savia put in the big hit. Moananu going up the field. He has scored 1 already, but now gives away the ball, so won't score 2. Penalty advantage already in favour of the Crusaders, who are down to man just for now. Another 6 minutes of that. 2 blue offside, so that is going to be against Sanarevi this time. Spider, take off that shirt. 4 penalties conceded by Moana Pasifika. It sounds like they are actually opting for the 3 points. Something that we don't see too often from the Crusaders. But I think it is the right choice here. Where can we watch the game? Depending on where you are in the world will depend on your options for being able to watch. If you are in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport. If you're in Australia, it's on Stan. Then, of course, a few other locations do have different broadcasters. They're actually taking 3 there. Scared, says Stephen. I think it's more so just to use up more time off the clock. David Arveli, 60-metre penalty goal for Tasman class. Says Sebastian. Yeah, he's nailed some off the kicking tee throughout his career. And he's actually found some good form this year, which is much nicer to see than last year. Because last year he kind of just made it into the team, and a lot of people didn't know why. In terms of the All Blacks, that is. James O'Connor, though, gets the kick over. That's going to make the score now 14 points to 10. After 20 minutes has already passed. I almost can't believe how quick it's gone. Now, Moana Pasifika just walking up to the halfway line. You would think that it would be the Crusaders trying to slow it down here, but Moana wanting to catch their breath. I think this will be the match that everyone will remember for years to come. 2 teams that match each other very well in this competition. Says Vaughan. My face is as red as a cooked lobster. Says Ruth. Why do lobsters turn red when they're cooked? Oh, drop ball from, I think it was, I want to say Scott Barrett, was it? No, it looks like a younger guy. Maybe Jamie Hanna. The man that put that one down. Already 2 handling errors from the Crusaders. Mean kick from O'Connor and South Africa listening to you. Akiwilan, I'm actually at Quilla Private Game Reserve Safari, says Dylan. So shout out to you for tuning in. It must be relatively early in the morning for yourself. Of course, we have got plenty more South African rugby coming up later on. The URC. We're going to be covering 3 of those matches. Speaking of, any plans on streaming Bunny CPC? Those then streams were fun. I would like to be fair. They were a lot more casual, weren't they? And normally we ended up finding George, even though George cared very little about the rugby, but he just enjoyed having a bit of a chat. Yeah, as long as the schedules don't overlap too much with international rugby, it should hopefully give me a chance to do a few games, even if it's like one a weekend, just at a random time that we slightly organise earlier. Moana Pasifika says sunny dates. They are on attack again here. 4 points up currently for Moana Pasifika with a chance to get into double digits in the lead. Samuel Slade, 10 metres out from the line, and still another 3 minutes remaining of the Crusaders without a man on the field, but that is going to be Fletcher Null. Does get the penalty. That will reprieve a little bit of the pressure, them being inside of their own 22. O'Connor, another Irishman. Says Ruth. Just checking to see if they've got anything confirmed in terms of the men's sevens matches for when South Africa are playing. I believe they will be playing at 9:38, but I'm not sure who they'll be facing just as of yet, but we are hoping to cover those ones. So third best third and third best fourth. So more than likely South Africa would face Uruguay, I believe, which is actually a rematch from an earlier contest. Especially when the All Blacks are making a rare appearance for their provinces. Yeah, it's always awesome to see those guys slotting back in there. Normally, I think, is it the first 2 rounds that we normally get to see a few sneaking in, those guys trying to make that last-ditch effort towards the All Blacks. I'm guessing that Moana Pasifika have been improving. Yeah, they've looked pretty strong throughout the first 20 minutes of this game. Anytime they're inside of that 22, they have quite a bit of attacking intent. It's going to be a line out now for Moana Pasifika, about pretty much on the halfway line, if we're being honest. Macca Springer went up for that ball and did end up knocking it on, but also knocking it into touch too. Going to be playing for ages. He's so old. They have cave paintings of him in Europe caves, says Drape. Yeah, he's been around a very long time, the Aussie veteran. Although people are talking about whether or not maybe he's got a chance of playing for the ABs under Scott Robertson now that he's almost eligible. Artie Savia goes across to Pellegrini. Offloads it up to Savia again. He's going to be tackled low by Ethan Blackadder. Is South African Kiwi and Aussie roots, says Thorfinn. And also, yeah, I remember there can only be one. 22 metres out. Good tackle made by Dallas McLeod. Tamatine. Good attack and run forward from Paya. Crashing into this Crusaders defence. Alain Marlow, this is almost his first touch. Why is Slins? We're going to need that one again, perhaps. Going off to the right-hand side. Nicely claimed by Danny Tawala. Almost had the try earlier on until it was disallowed. But here comes a big run from Miracle Failangi. Crusaders are still down by 4. Could get worse in the very near future. Definitely if they do give away another penalty advantage. Danny Tawala gets his try. This one will not be denied, I should say. And Moana Pasifika, they're 19-10 up. 60 quid for a British and Irish Lions shirt. Robbing mustard, says Sebastian. And why South Africa doing so bad, says Mohadeen. In the 7 side of things, unfortunately, they did just, the thing is, yes, they lost to New Zealand and they looked pretty poor doing it, right? Their game up against Australia, I've mentioned it, that was the best I've seen Australia play in a game of 7s in ages. All of this season, maybe even the last couple of years. They were on song, they hardly put a foot wrong, and they dominated. So I think, and I stand by it, they would have beaten any side in the 7 circuit if they played like they did up against South Africa. So, the Blitzboks can't have too much to be disappointed about there. And then their game up against Uruguay, they won 40 points to 7. So, overall, they're just in a group that's had a little bit more, success for a couple other sides, but they weren't miles off, on any other given day. They might have scored a second try up against New Zealand and then gone through. And they would have had to face the Kiwis again. Cullen Grace, in the 10 minutes he's been off the field, we have seen 2 tries scored by Moana Pasifika. Is the Springboks still doing well? They haven't played in a pretty long time. Their last game was in November. I assume that the camps are all going well with Rassi and his squad selections. Normally likes to extend that squad as much as possible. Our Moana, I'm taken aback by insulting manner of your aggression, sir. That one's going to go out on the full from the Crusaders, which now means Moana Pasifika again will have themselves the line out. Or sorry, not the line out, but instead the scrum on the halfway line. Just hits the line. My main man holding the team together for the ones who can't afford a TV. Says music rocks up. And we are, of course, going to be doing plenty more live streams throughout the night. We've got the sevens quarterfinals that we will be covering on the channel. We have also got the URC. Hoping to do 3 matches, so that's an extra 6 hours of streaming. Moana Pasifika, they have had more territory, more possession, and here's a massive stat. They have had 7 minutes 28 inside of the Crusaders 22. Crusaders only having 33 seconds. Now, this has been one of the absolutely best halves that Moana Pasifika could have asked for. But, if the Crusaders still win this game, it will feel like it was for nothing. Moana have to win from here. And there's still plenty of time remaining. Pellegrini going for the kick in behind. It all started with that early 50-22 from that man as well. That was what started the territory. We have got this dude casting. It's a bloody curse. Crusaders will win, but Pasifika is going to go over easily because of this dumb caster, says Shavam. So I assume that's just because I said that there is a chance that the Crusaders can come back. You're not happy? If it makes you feel better, I covered the Crusaders season last year where they were absolutely terrible. So that's something to maybe think about. And get going, Crusaders. You're lagging behind like a one-legged marathon runner, says Roof there. Now nice attack and run from Moana Pasifika. They're going to be going off to the left-hand side. Beautifully taken here for some messy Paya. Moves it to the 22 and just passes it into touch. I think they're saying it might have been lost forward first, so the Crusaders will have that option of either the line out or the scrum. Adi Savia just crashing hard at the opposition line. It is exactly what they need. Him, Samisi Paya, and also Miracle Whaialangi are all guys that can hit that line, get over the gain line, and make a bit of an impact. The Crusaders' home crowd won't be very impressed. I would assume they'd be absolutely livid, more than likely. Because, heading into this game, some Crusaders supporters and also just some people in general felt like this was going to be an easy win for the Crusaders. But it's been anything but so far. Crusaders have looked lackluster and Moana have looked on song. We have got there every time you cast, the non-favourite just keeps scoring. How are they scoring 3 tries in 30 minutes? Just not possible, says Shavam. But we've covered 80% of Super Rugby games this year, and that hasn't always been the case. But I assume I'm confused. Are you a Crusaders supporter or are you a Moana Pasifika supporter? I assume you're a Crusaders supporter, maybe. Or either that, or you've placed a bet. That's normally why we get a random amount of abuse, is normally because people have placed a bet and then they're not happy with how the match is going. 3 last penalties have gone against Moana Pasifika. Did that person call Hamish dumb, says Ruth? It's a regular occurrence. We're used to it by now. Now, going to be thrown in by Moananu. I see taken by Cullen Grace. Now, good rolling ball set here. Moana Pasifika trying to slow it down, but already making about 15 metres. Just tune in what's happening. Moana Pasifika have come to play, I think is the best way of describing it. And I mentioned it earlier on, how Moana have conceded a lot of tries, but they've scored a huge amount too. They've actually scored more tries than some of the top teams, which just tells you that, yes, their defence sometimes is caught lacking, but other than that, they know how to score. Nice pass on the outside from Chafiaki to Will Jordan. Was considering a $100+ bet on the over for Crusaders today. Only reason I didn't, I always got stuck watching the cricket. So the Black Caps probably saved you a lot of money, is what you've just said. A little bit of a slip there for Papisana Patafilo. And we have got there clean game hammy. Well, no card. Other than the yellow card of Cullen Grace. Sorry for that, bro, but seriously, this always happens. But I'm still I'm confused. So who are you supporting? I assume you're supporting Moana Pasifika and you're worried I've jinxed them by saying that they're going to do well? Maybe? Because, like, I have jinxed a lot of teams in the past. Commentator's curse is a real thing. Noah Hotham. Come back to the right-hand side. Scott Barrett tried to sell the dummy and he's been smashed by Danny Tawala for his troubles. Now Shafiaki. There it is. I knew there would have been a bet in there somewhere. I got Pacifica under 28.6. So, or probably 28.5, I'd say. Like, as in under that many points that they're going to score. Or, I assume that is. Oh, nice run for James O'Connor. Sitting 10 metres out. Yes, says Javam. That wouldn't have been paying much at all, would it? Because they were huge underdogs going into this game. Nice run from Pipisana Patafilo. Loose ball, swaps it out wide. And now Alai Malo. Oh, this is going to be a 50-22 as well, or at least very close. Yes, it is. Another 50-22 for Moana Pasifika. Crusaders is taking the game too lightly, says Jacobus. And Moana will be looking to get a win after the shocking first half against the Chiefs, says Jay Link. And Moana did beat the Hurricanes unexpectedly. Exactly right, for one of the same reasons that they are leading here. They just seem like they wanted it more. I placed it after 2 tries were scored. It's still, I can't imagine that would be paying a huge amount, would it? Like, what were the odds and what did you put on it? Because it might have been a very risky one. And everyone beats my Hurricanes, says Drape. Yeah, just a really nice kick downfield from Moana Pasifika. Evans, says Javam. Oh, that one wasn't straight from Sanarevi. It means that the Crusaders will now get themselves more than likely the scrum from on their 22. And everyone beats my... Oh no, I really wondered. I had Pacifica smacking down the Satyrs. Says Ruth. I got 40 points for, or got Crusaders for 40 points. You'll be a bit nervous at the moment. Although the thing is, it's a high enough scoring game that the Crusaders can come back. Plenty of time left. Crusaders will hit back, says Carmelita. And now it is going to be the line out for Moana Pasifika so far. 15 missed tackles from Moana Pasifika. And at this current point in time, the Crusaders have made 100 tackles. So, 90% of their tackles have been made. It's been a fast pace. They will tire if this is the pace that they're going to continue having to play at. Pellegrini now going across to the middle to Pipisana Patafilo. They're at the bottom of the pile. Says Javam. They are, but if we look at their points differential or the amount of tries that they've scored, like I said, they've been brilliant, and that is brilliant again. Another try for Moana Pasifika, and they have 28 points now, and we're still in the first half. I know Moana Pasifika expect what my missus thinks of my sexy time, full of energy, then disappointment, says TH, and Go Moana says SS2. Pellegrini does get the try off the inside ball. And Crusaders not as sharp without their razor, says Robert. And Satyrs are silver, says Country Guy. Yeah, that's the thing. This was the game to put the Crusaders top of the table. And they haven't been able to capitalise as of yet. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. I always say if one side scores 28 in one half, the other can do the same in the second. But at the moment, Moana Pasifika are on an absolute high. And they don't look like slowing down. I've no chance first to 40 will be the Crusaders as my bet, says Stephen. Surely that wasn't paying a lot of money, was it, Stephen? And Satyrs to come back, says Chris. Yeah, they are a side that have caused quite a few upsets in the past in terms of being down by a margin and then managing to fire back. But for now, it's been an absolutely clinical performance from Moana Pasifika. Well, it ain't half time. Yeah, we've still got another 4 minutes remaining in this contest. Satyrs rotated their squad thinking this game would be easy. It's exactly what the Hurricanes did, and the Hurricanes paid for it. Be sure to check your Discord DMs when you got the time, says Sebastian. Is that my personal ones or the group one? Because I haven't been on the group in 4 weeks, I think. It's quite bad, isn't it? The Crusaders keep more of their main guys on the bench, says NZ. Right, they've got a few late changes that could make a bit of an impact. Pellegrini is having a great season. Moana are playing for each other as a team. Well done so far. Says John. And we have the Crusaders to come back. And Cruz have been a second half team this season, but Moana Pasifika will be defending like demons. The thing is, though, Moana Pasifika have also been a tremendous second half team. So, like, you know, that will make for a very entertaining second 40. All great low tackle on Macca Springer by William Havili. And the turnover is good again. Another steal. This time coming from Tavita Offa. Have they come back? Who cares about the real Crusaders of the past? These are the real conquerors. Says Drape and private message to Sebastian. Do you want me to check it before the end of this match? Like, is it something to do with this one or outside of that? And good game for Moana. Says Roof. Right, it is actually going to be the scrum feed now for the Crusaders here. Pellegrini, they are just showing once again some of his highlights. He has been everywhere throughout this first half. Crusaders to change their logo. They have. Well, they did only a couple years ago, or 3-4 years, maybe even longer than that actually, now that I think about it. I think since the start of Super Rugby Aotearoa, they have had this current logo. Outside of it, don't want to interrupt the stream, says Sebastian. So yeah, I will be sure to have a look at it. Probably after this one, depending on whether or not South Africa are playing Uruguay. I think it's still yet to be confirmed on the Sevens website, which is a bit weird. Normally they do those pretty quick. But now, ball is going to be fed in by Noah Hotham, and big push from the Crusaders, who have now got penalty advantage going short side. Hotham tries to kick on the inside. Playing by Pellegrini. Oh, what's he doing here? He's run it back into his in-goal area, flicks it out to William Havili, and there was a forward pass in the in-goal area. Oh no, they already had the penalty advantage. I wish I made a new brand of rice. How did you manage that, Martin? Oh, double below the whistle here too. Might be the stage of a bit of a talking to. I think that's the first scrum that has been really one-sided between these two sides. The referee has got the hand up for the penalty. The last 4 games between these two sides, the most points that Moana Pasifika has scored is 21. And that was in 2023. Every time that the Crusaders have played Moana Pasifika, though, they have brought up more than 33 points. And why their logo is great, like the Washington Redskins logo. Says Drape. They're just saying about hitting the breakdowns in numbers. Try and keep that ball on the side of the Crusaders. It has not been easy to do. Now nicely thrown into the front. Cullen Grace claims it here. We're only about 50 seconds away from the halftime break. Round this side, Moananu gets close, very close in fact. And they're held up. So again, the defence of Moana does withstand the onslaught, but they have given away another penalty advantage. James O'Connor looking for the ball. I believe they are going to decide to kick this one into touch yet again. And I like this lead, says NZ Right. Yeah, it is a pretty substantial one, although if they do manage to score themselves a try now, the Crusaders will, of course, push them much more in the right direction. We have got there, what about Moana Pasifika, says Country Guy, and Artie Savi is the best version of himself in this jersey. Captain on fantasy, says Richard, that is actually Knight. And now off the back, Moananu, just short of the try line again. And Moana Pasifika get the turnover penalty. That is absolutely massive for them. And that is at a time where they did need it the most. Don't stop Moana, solid D's, says Blues Nate. And how is your thoughts on what the Crusaders need to do tactically? Honestly, just hang on to that ball. A little bit more ball security in the breakdown, I think, is the biggest thing that can change. But Moana are just playing out of their skins for this first half. It has been absolutely extraordinary from this Moana Pasifika side, and they should be extremely proud of what they've done so far. Now, like I said, they have to finish the job, though. It's all well and good scoring 28 points in the first half, but you have to make sure you are going to be able to stay there as a rock in that team, says Martin Meyer. He is not, although some people would maybe call Artie Savia the rock at the moment, the way that he is going. as we said, yeah, Moana Pasifika at this stage of the competition, like they are sitting 6th in the try scoring tallies. They have got 27. Now, the Brumbies are up a little bit higher. Same with the Hurricanes, and they have both played the extra games. So going into this round, I believe Moana would have been probably top 4 in terms of tries being scored throughout the season. The Highlanders, the Blues, the Drua, the Waratahs, the Reds are all below them in terms of how many they have been able to score. So, you know, they're up there, Moana Pasifika, and always, at least it seems anyway, we're going to be able to make a decent effort out of this one. Some people are going to lose a lot of money if Moana holds on. The betting line was crazy. Yep. And that is one of the big problems, unfortunately, is like there are going to be people who thought that the Crusaders were a safe bet, but nothing's safe in Super Rugby. We've said that multiple times, and sadly it always ends up with someone finding that out the hard way. But yeah, brilliant first half. Flew by as well. I don't even know whether or not we've had a half of rugby that has felt quicker than that. It just felt like non-stop action for the full 40 minutes. I bet on Moana, says Knight Rider. And also we've got that second half plan gets close and drop goal as many as we can, says Drape. Crusaders don't perform first half. How can they second, says Spider Mick? You'd be surprised. They are one of those sides that, you know, if they have a bit of a rough one, sometimes all they need is a bit of that wake-up call and a bit of a talk at halftime, and they can turn it around. Crusaders to come back, says Chris. I did tonight, but on a spread. They just can't lose by 22, so I'm safe, says Judah. And also, what place is Moana going to be in the end of Super Rugby? I do still see them outside of the playoffs, but this win here would actually boost them right up to 9th. They would be ahead of the Blues at the same stage of the season if they were to win it. Now, if the Crusaders win this game, they could sit top of the table. And I feel like that was the bare minimum that they would have been after. But yeah, it's just been an eventful first 40 minutes. And it's just been very entertaining. About the best way of describing it. And Moana definitely have to carry on with that momentum, says David the Mod, and certainly wouldn't suggest taking the head-to-head bets in Super Rugby Pacific, paying less than $1.25, says Studs Rays. I think it will be close and exciting, says NZ Riot. And what's the overall game look like, Hamish? It's looked pretty, like, it's been open, that's for sure, but the penalties that have been given have really put momentum on the attacking side's favour. Like Moana Pasifika, those penalties from the Crusaders just out from their own line. The yellow card leading to 2 tries during that window. And those kind of moments have really just escalated this performance from Moana Pasifika. Just being able to roll with the punches, take a few big hits, and their goal line defence as well has been extremely strong here. What we will quickly do is, I do see that South Africa are playing Uruguay in the 9th place semi-final. I wonder how we'll go about trying to schedule that now. Probably not very well. I'm not the best at multitasking, unfortunately, even though sometimes we do a lot of talking. What we're going to try and do here is going to go like that. And we're going to go like this as well. In fact, we might be able to get away with going like this. We have good there. I thought I smelt an upset. Yeah, well, it's certainly looking like it at the moment. It's been very entertaining, this first half. And I feel like even, like, yes, it's not what people have wanted to see if you are a Crusaders supporter, but it's flown by. And I feel like that is always a sign of a good half, is when you realise at about 33 minutes, oh, hang on, we're not 15 minutes in. Moana on fire. I do think they will win 36, Crusaders 20. What do you think, Hamish, says Kevin? I think the Crusaders will score more than 20 points. That's my big prediction. So many people picked Macaroni and Kieran for fantasy. Kieran ruled out Moana eating Macca's. Says Knight. And also we have there, what's the overall game? Oh no, I read that one, wasn't it? And any good attacking plays by the Crusaders? Couple decent runs. Like, they got that rolling maul, and their rolling maul does look, I would actually say, the stronger of the two. But there's just been a little bit of a lack of attacking from the back three, I would say. So that's down to Fiaki, Will Jordan, and also out on the other wing, they have got Macca Springer, someone who's been able to score quite a few tries in this season, but a lot of those tries, I don't want to sound too critical, but quite a few of those tries have been run-ins. And now, this type of game, he's really going to have to work for his tries. What is the score now? Currently half-time, 28 points to 10 in favour of Moana Pasifika. So they have got a very nice lead here. And like I've said, silencing the crowd for this matchup. As, yeah, I just don't think anyone was anticipating such a one-sided contest. And say his comebacks is heartbreaking. Well, that's the thing. We've seen it many times. And we'll see it many times in the future too. And that is that the Crusaders can come back from a majority of margins. You know, there'll be a few times that it's a bit too much of a mountain to climb. And I would say that this is one of those times that it seems like it could be the case. But like they're still going to be in it. Early try in the second half or a yellow card to Moana Pasifika could be devastating. That's the type of play that would maybe cost them this game if we see the Crusaders score 2 or 3 times during a yellow card period. And also, I want to say, like an Adi Savia injury, of course, would be rough, but at the same time, that's what happened in the game up against the Hurricanes, and they did brilliantly in there. Moana won a cup before, I think that is, and the answer is no. They haven't actually made it to a quarter-final, so this would be a pretty big one to be able to get under their belt. It also will make Chiefs fans very happy, as it will mean that their side, maybe with the exception of the Reds, will still be sitting top 1 or maybe 2 by the end of the round. But yeah, still another 40 minutes of action remaining, and in that type of time, a lot can happen. And I think that is why, even though, like I said, brilliant first half and couldn't have gone much better for Moana Pasifika, they won't be counting out the Crusaders just for now. They'll know that this game is still in the balance. First 10 minutes will be critical for the Crusaders, exactly right. If they're able to get themselves, let's say, 1 try throughout that 10 minutes, they're in this game. If they manage to score another try before they reach the last quarter, they honestly could go on to win it. So, yeah, Moana Pasifika, the ball is in their court a little bit, I guess you could say, and they have to make sure that they don't let it slip. Yes, that is true, says Ski, and I actually mentioned about it a bit earlier on in the half too, and it was to do with the fact that this has been brilliant from Moana Pasifika, but without getting the win, it feels like it wouldn't count for much. You know, like, having a great performance is awesome, you have to get that win on the belt because that's what people remember. They don't remember if you had a great game if you go on to lose, but they do remember it if you go on to cause one of the bigger upsets of this season in Super Rugby. And if the Crusaders score straight away, it will make me this match feel even. And yes, Moana attack has been showing from the start. Their games do swing, but the Crusaders could have a long day in the office. They don't close it, says Mr. All-In. And also, let's just all remember this is Crusaders, one of the greatest rugby franchises on the planet, says David the Mod. And while we're at it, we might as well check the odds and the way that it sits, because I believe that even though the Crusaders are losing by this margin, this is the type of game that could really cost the TAB a lot of money, because the Crusaders are $1.87 underdogs compared to Moana Pasifika's $1.82. So, yeah, it's pretty much a pick'em game, even though there are 18 points in favour of one of these two sides. So that just tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the Crusaders of the past and how well they can come back into a game. The second half is only moments away from getting underway, ladies and gents. We are thoroughly excited. Amen, buddy. David the Mod, greatest rugby franchise. I'm waking them up with handbag strikes and kick-off or halftime kick-ass lecture. Coach throws the boot. Yeah, I cannot imagine there is a world where the coach for the Crusaders is anything but angry at what happened in that first half. Because, like, the draw and pass was sensational from Moana Pasifika. In terms of that decision-making, getting that next pass away, it was brilliant to watch. And now we're in that position of waiting to see whether or not it's going to be brilliant to watch in the second half as well, or whether there's going to be some mistakes made. Pasifika looking lethal. They just kept the pressure on, says Roof. Don't they usually have someone racing down the side of the field trying to win the bucket of KFC? They do normally. I don't think they've done that in Christchurch. Perhaps they decided, nah, not doing it today, not in a good mood. But yeah, normally someone does get a chance of winning the KFC on the sideline. Crusaders look tired and lacking cohesion in the defence, almost unprepared. Reckon Moana Pasifika has surprised them with the lines they're running. Yeah, like Pellegrini has been, I want to say, kind of like I was going to say a playmaker, but also just leading this backline in a really impressive way. He's able to control them, make sure they're going in the right direction, and like very little mistakes have been made from Moana Pasifika defensively. We've seen that one try from Moana Nu. Other than that, though, not much in terms of what could have gone better for them. And yeah, like they'll be a very happy sight. I mean, you got a KFC yet? No, we don't have the KFC, unfortunately. I don't think it will be coming in the near future either. I know that there were rumours of a Subway ages ago, but like I don't think that ever really happened in terms of going ahead. Hamish looks like a chicken wraps type of guy, lol. I don't mind a chicken wrap, if I'm honest. Not from KFC, though. I haven't actually had a KFC chicken wrap. I had a KFC slider. Those aren't too bad until they absolutely just douse it in barbecue sauce. Let's go, Moana. Says Blues Nate. Everyone likes a good underdog story. Do you know what the crazy thing is, though? If the first 10 minutes we see another Moana Pasifika try or something along those lines, the Crusaders become the underdog in this match, which is insane to say because they came into this game as bigger favourites than you could imagine. We have the hello Hamish. What is the score like? What is going on with the Crusaders? Yeah, it just hasn't gone right for the Crusaders throughout that first half. They've made error after error. And, you know, it is costing them big time. We haven't seen a huge amount of cohesion, I guess you could say, and just looking like they're lacking something. As if the fact that, honestly, it sounds crazy to say, because if we mentioned this last year, people would say, what do you mean? But David Havili, they're missing his experience in the backline. A guy that was in pretty rough form last year, but this year he's held them together. How many games have the Crusaders won this season? They are, believe it or not, they're sitting there in second place. They're sitting 4 from 5, I should say. Like, it's crazy to think how this game's gone. Look at this down here, Moana Pasifika. But their points differential is minus 29. They've actually had quite a few close games. And I think that's helped them build a little bit of confidence. Even in games that they're losing, they're keeping them relatively tight. So, yeah, it's a weird one. It's really not what anyone, I think, was predicting for this game. And anyone that was picking Moana Pasifika to be leading in this contest, I don't think would have been picking them to lead by 18 going into halftime. Those guys behind you should get off the field so the game can start again, says Gary. Yeah, the good news is very close to the second half getting underway, but I'm not actually sure who they are. It looks like Crusaders, maybe Brumbies or Western Force or someone. Could even be the Sharks. I don't know how old this picture is, but yeah, it could be anyone really. They are doing the welcome back, which means we are very close to the second half of this contest getting underway. It's going to be an exciting one, that is for sure. Just talking about how impressive that first half was with Tana Umangi. He'll be over the moon with what they've done. But he, better than most people will know, if you're winning a game, you can't take the foot off the gas. Because as soon as you do that, the opposition get into it and they cause you problems. And the Crusaders at home as well. The one time I bet big on them, it always happens. Like, just every once in a while, the big upset occurs. That causes a lot of frustration for people. We got blamed for Moana Pasifika playing well earlier. Someone said that the only reason Moana were winning was because we decided to do the live stream of it, and it always seems to happen when we do a commentary. Which seemed rather harsh, if I'm being honest, but yeah. Second half is just about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. Crusaders, they need a big one here. And if they aren't able to do so, They will lose this contest, but we are back underway now for the second 40 minutes, ladies and gents. And the Crusaders have already got the possession. Driven into touch was Macca Springer. There's been lots of upsets so far for both Union and NRL. Yeah, at the moment, it's a lot harder to predict who's going to win games, which is brilliant. You know, you want one of those ones that could go either way every single time. And it just keeps everyone on the edge of their seat, keeps them invested in the competition too. Oh, there is going to be a knock-on now. It does mean now that the Moana Pasifika side will have themselves the feed. Right, coaches sound confident, to be honest. Being 18 points down, the coach pretty much said, we're just going to let the boys work their way into it. I think they would want to do that very soon, seeing as they are down by quite a bit. Well, I'm late. Not something I was expecting. Yeah, I think some people predicted Moana to win by 7 if they were lucky. This scoreline is crazy. But in a good way. I feel like it's been quite a pleasant surprise. Scrum now is going to be set. No draw to the death. Says Dave. Well, that's the other thing. Imagine if somehow we get into a position that it ends up as a draw in this contest. And then they go to Golden Point. And then that is normally when we'd see the Crusaders secure it. Now nicely taken to the back. Here comes Tuna Tuitama, a brilliant player in the Samoan 7 circuit. That decided to sign with Moana Pasifika and has found a little bit of success. Oh, referee apologising by the sounds of it as well. Kicked high. And Moana Pasifika must defend with their lives. But that's the other side of things too. They have to make sure their defence is on point, but they can't afford to go too much into their shell. They still have to throw those passes that they had in the first half because that's what got them to where they are. And I do worry a little bit that they're just going to allow the Crusaders to keep on coming at them. And then, you know, we could see a position of Moana just tire out. Big shot coming in from, I believe it was William Havili this time. James O'Connor has to play halfback, goes across to Scott Barrett. Oh, Ardie Savia told to get out of it. Manages to avoid giving away the penalty, but he wasn't a mile away. Now, Will Jordan trying to get this back line flowing. He's one of those guys that's going to need a 10 out of 10 in the second half. Passes it out to Shea Fiaki. Beautiful stepping from the right winger. In the absence, great steal and the breakdown from Moana Pasifika again. But the absence of not having Sevu Reece and not having David Havili seems to have changed it. And it sounds really crazy to say, right? Seeing as he's so young in his career. But Kyle Preston missing has actually had a bit of an impact too. That one's going to be kicked into touch by Patrick Pellegrini. In fact, no, my apologies. He misses touch with it, which means now Dallas McLeod able to kick this one downfield. He's kicked it out on the full. So it's going to be the line-out throw anyway. Any subs for the Crusaders? I don't believe so. Not yet anyway. But I wouldn't think they're going to be a mile away from starting to make a few switches just to give some guys a bit more of an opportunity. I will also mention I have just scheduled just before that live stream between South Africa and Uruguay for the 7th. So we've managed to jump in quick enough to get that done. That will be at 9:35 p.m. New Zealand time, which is the kickoff time of the Reds versus Western Force. But we are going to be doing quarterfinals rugby all throughout that period. There's going to be another advantage in favour of Moana Pasifika. Still advantage from the line out. Jonathan Tamatene. Pop pass up from Ardie Savia. And they will go back for it. Who's player of the match? At the moment, it's got to be either Pellegrini or Ardie Savia. One of those two, for me, have fully stepped up. Of course, when you're down by 18 points, the half goes quick. We're already 44 minutes through. 36 minutes left. Scott Barrett, he's looking confused. He normally does, but more confused than normal. Ball's going to be kicked into touch by Pellegrini, only 5 metres out from the line here. Here is another massive chance for Moana Pasifika. Crowd doesn't look like a huge one. Maybe some Crusader supporters knew what was to come. I think there is a very narrow margin of error where the Crusaders can afford to take a loss. And that second half performance from Moana against the Chiefs was without Ardie was huge. They're only going up from here, says Knight. Yeah, they seem to speed up as the game wears on. Even in a first half where they've looked round and looked down and out, they still find a way. Sanarevi leaves that one off the back of the rolling ball to Jonathan Tamatine, who now goes across field to Tavita Offa. Now Alan Craig. Should mention, this is also in the absence of the big man Tom Savage. He's not even in the starting lineup for this contest. Trying to get the turnover was Moana Nu. Looked like Tamatine was being tackled off the ball by Fletcher Null, so that's going to be another advantage. Moana is trash, says Nellie Howard. So out of curiosity, how do you come to that assessment? Because I assume it's not based off this current game. We will come back. Okay, that makes more sense. It's a Crusaders supporter. And you're expecting the big comeback, which I do think there is going to be some sort of opportunity for them to come back in. But at the moment, Moana just aren't giving it to them. We have my mum is back from Singapore. See his country guy, Moana Pasifika. It looks like they are going to take on the 3 points here. Who scored for Moana? We're seeing 2 tries from Adi Savia, 1 from Danny Tuala, and then also 1 from... Who else got the try in that first half? There was another one in there. And it's bad that I can't... Was it Sanarevi? Was it a rolling maul try that they did get? This is the biggest upset of Moana down the Crusaders. Down with the Crusaders' sickness, disturbed. Says Knight, but now Pellegrini does get the kick over, which now means that Moana have brought up 31 points. Does also mean that the guy who said that I jinxed the Crusaders by covering the live stream because it meant that Moana were going to score more has just lost his money. Crusaders forwards have to match up G's, says TH. Yeah, in the breakdown, Moana are getting the possession more times than not. In fact, I don't think I've seen a side that has taken the ball off the Crusaders so many times in the breakdown as Moana have here. Samu Reese needs to pick up the pace. Well, he's not even playing in this game, Nellie Howard. He's not on the field. They started Che Fiaki out on that right wing, but of course, as a Crusaders faithful, you would know that. Now line out throw here for Moana Nu. Now throw on this one in, nicely taken by Cullen Grace. Hotham goes across to James O'Connor. Dallas McLeod. Moving up to 40 metres out. Some much needed possession here as Samisi Pai. He's had a couple good runs. O'Connor, I forgot about him. Oh, nice piece and run from Noah Hotham. They move into the 22. Playing halfback was Jamie Hanna. Now passes it out wide to Macca Springer. Steps back in. Scored 5 tries up against the Western Force. Just one would be crucial in this game up against Moana. George Bauer driven backwards. Great physicality shown. Now across to the left-hand side. Come on the Crusaders. Here's Chris Hayes. And yes, he's not playing. And Sever only scores tries, not the playmaker, says Rape. And Pacifica closing down the Crusaders. Gates are shut tight. Yeah, 15 metres out from the line. Still here for the Crusaders. No advantage. Great run from James O'Connor. He's done really well in the starting lineup. The side that has struggled. Dan winning by 21 points. Says Country Guy, if Moana wins this, it'll be more shocking than Fiji versus Chiefs match. That's a good lead, says NZ Right. Exactly right. 3 converted tries up at the moment for Moana Pasifika. They wanted to get the turnover in the breakdown, but told to get out of it by Angus Gardner. Now Moana Nu, 3 metres from the try line. Hotham waiting for the ball. It's just not coming out cleanly for the Crusaders at the moment. Closer to the try line now. Hotham goes across Hannah, pops it up to Levi Moore. He's almost been non-existent throughout this game. Dallas McLeod out wide, goes to Mecca. What's he doing there? Scores the try, but slips over trying to make it an easier kick. I would have thought when you're down by 21, you'd just concentrate on scoring, wouldn't you? You got James O'Connor. He's normally pretty accurate off the tee, but almost butchered that one, Macca Springer. Scores his 7th try of the season. Just like quite a few of them. Just running it in seemed like it was going to be safe, but he almost, we're going to see the replay here. He could have just run it in, slips inwards. And Macca, mate, what you doing? Says SS2, and what's he doing there? Yeah, I think he tried to make it an easier kick for James O'Connor, but in doing so, almost ended up being short. I will come back, I believe in my Crusaders, mate. says Nelly Howard. And right on 10 minutes, here they come, the Crusaders, says TH. And like I said, if they score within that first 10, then score in the next 10, they're right back in this. James O'Connor strikes it, and it does miss away to the side. So Macca Springer, he'll try and say that's why he tried to step it in. It's games like this that remind not to never gamble. Wait, not to never gamble. That's kind of a double entendre, isn't it? That's kind of saying not to never gamble. So you're saying to gamble by that one. You kind of got a negative, and a negative turns it into a positive. But we get what you're saying. Oh, we're still in there up the Saders. That was weird or awkward for Macca. Says Blues Nate, but he does score it again. Keeps the ball in the field of play here for the Crusaders. Cody Taylor onto the field. That is for Moana Nu. And George Bauer off the field for Tamaiti Williams. Obviously, it was a typo. It was pretty obvious, yes. But now on the halfway line. Sitting there for Hotham. Kicks it high from James O'Connor. And nicely taken by Will Jordan. This is the momentum shifter, ladies and gentlemen. An oxymoron. Yeah, I guess you could say that as well. And O'Connor needs a hip replacement. Well, his hip's going all right so far. He's been one of the standouts for the Crusaders. And double negative says all in the game. And Artie Hattrick incoming says Knight Rider. Now the Crusaders with Cody Taylor. Oh, it's going to be a drop ball. And the penalty does go the way of the Crusaders. Artie Savia leaving his feet. Oh, a little bit of push and shove there. Will Jordan having a whisper in Savia's ear. Angus Gardner also laughing about it. Whatever Savia said there, obviously done in good spirits, but it is still a penalty. Yeah, just leaves his feet as he tried to time. Mighty Williams goes and gives him a big hug. And calling it now, this one's going to get feisty, says Studs Race. That's the thing. The closer the Crusaders get to a comeback, the more intense this game's going to be. But then I feel like that's the type of thing that fires up the Saders. Cody Taylor, brilliant throw straight to Barrett. Ball's popped out the back, but it's picked up by Cody Taylor, who's over. And another try now for the Crusaders. The comeback has not only just started, but it has become in full effect. And 11 points difference now. Bring back Goodhue, says Chris Hayes. Cody Taylor comes on, scores the try. And he wasn't able to do so in the last match, but he was going to be hard to stop. Decent effort from Tuna Tuitama, but just slips through him. One letter made that sentence sound bad. Should have been ever, not never. Probably autocorrect, says Bruce. And I say this says a Lord Rapture. And try, says David the Mod there. James O'Connor sitting 2 from 3. There's still 27 minutes left. Whereas Braden Enor, believe injured at the moment still. Enor, has he gone overseas? It's one of the two anyway. I think he's injured though. Cody Taylor Swift. So my predictive test always says to add that. And Jack Goodhue is at the right age to be a great player, but nah. Says Rape, because he's in France, isn't he? Castres? Is he at Castres? Is that where he's ended up? I play Union too. Says Nelly Howard. The Crusaders, they already feel like they're going to get it. Where is the celebrity? I have no idea what you're talking about, Country Guy. You've put it about 4 times, and each time I've just skipped over it because I had no idea who you were referring to. Oh, great take from William Harvili. Goodhue's overseas. And Hamish, whatever happened to Jack Goodhue? He's overseas playing for Castres, I think. But I could be wrong, but he is in France. Going across to the left-hand side. Nice run from Chris Apua. Now off to the left. Past out wide to Solomon Alai Marlow. Goodhue plays for Castres. Says, was there from Night and Go the Blue. Says Hafiti. Moana is in trouble now, lol. Says Nelly Howard. Although, if they get themselves another try, the Crusaders still, of course, would have plenty to climb. It's still outside of that one converted try window. Like, where is the celebrity in the stands? Is there supposed to be a celebrity in the stands? Like, is there a celebrity you're referring to that's supposed to be watching this game? And Moana looking panicky now, says SS2. The penalty is going to get Scott Barrett, who just got caught sitting in an offside position. A little bit lazy from the big man. He's with Castro. And I thought he played for the Snips. And Richie Moonga, says country guy. That one's going to be thrown and stolen by the Crusaders at line-out time. Now Noah Hotham. He's got a few options away to his left-hand side. Bit of pressure being put on him. Cullen Grace tackled low. Rolling this ball back again. They're being told to use it. The last try for the Crusaders, says Davida and I are the same age. Says Chris. And that one's gone into touch. The crowd are giving the home team a bit of hope now. The Crusaders. And try as needed, Mo. 24 minutes remaining. The second half has already felt longer than the whole first half, and that is down to the fact that there's a lot more back and forth. That's going to be nicely taken by Artie Savia, but then it's knocked on by Moana Pasifika. Crusaders will have themselves a scrum again on the halfway line. Going to lose now because Carter jinxed it, says Drape. Yeah, claimed by Artie Savia. It didn't look like the straightest line out either. And we have got their Crusaders are the new Queensland Reds, unpredictable, says Will. Yeah, at the end of the day, like, if the Crusaders were able to come back and win this game, they would be sitting first on the table, and the only side that can go ahead of them is the Reds. They're playing the Western Force. Honestly, this could be a similar scoreline in that next game. Because the Force have had a couple really good performances and then also a couple pretty poor ones. And, you know, the Reds, they could be a bit of a mixed bag. It's in Queensland, so that probably helps. Possession at the moment has now gone in favour of the Crusaders. Same with territory, but a stat that was extremely impressive is at one point in the first half when the Crusaders had 35 seconds inside of the opposition 22, Moana Pasifika had 7.5 minutes. Little chip of mine from Shafiaki, but they will go back for the original penalty again. And go Moana. Maui is with you, says Davida. The front row collapsing under the pressure of Tamaiti Williams, Cody Taylor and Fletcher Knoll. 10 penalties now against Moana Pasifika. If they end up with a yellow card, I know it sounds negative, but I think if Moana have a yellow by the end of this game, they will lose. Really, really terrible statement. But I just think that if they end up with a man disadvantage, that's when the Crusaders strike. And I don't think they'll be a mile off that final warning either. Looks like the change is about to be made. Big man Tom Savage making his way on. That is for Samuel Slade. That is the only change just for now, I believe. Just in terms of this little moment. How far down the table if the Crusaders lose? Not a huge amount, to be honest. They'll still probably sit third. I think is the lowest that they can drop. And that is, of course, if the Reds get themselves a win, that is going to be the penalty for Moana Pasifika. We also have had a lot of rain here in Brisbane lately for a week straight, so that could make matters difficult tonight. Yeah, that could be maybe a bit more of an evening factor. Are you going to enlighten us about these steps? And we have got there for the Reds, says Will, and Pasifika need a card, says Chris. And come on, Crusaders, says Vane. Or Vane, I believe it is. I just fooled the feed. Is this an early... Oh, sorry, I just joined the feed. Is this an early April Fool's? Have I just not watched enough Super Rugby this season? This is definitely not one that people would have predicted in terms of the way that it currently sits, but the game is far from over. There will still be plenty of time for the comeback. Nice, says Vani. And there as well. Welcome in. I hope you are doing well. We are going to be back with Super Rugby next week as well, of course. More sevens coming up later on tonight with the quarterfinals. URC throughout the night. Sevens tomorrow. Going to be plenty happening on the channel. Let's go Moana, says FWTG. Back across to the left-hand side here. Trying to go for that turnover was The number 8. It was originally going to be, I believe, Christian Leo Willie, but a couple late changes meant that Crusaders made some swaps. O'Connor looking for the 50-22, well handled at the back from Patrick Pellegrini. And both men at the back, him and William Arvelli, have looked great. It's like watching a tile boxer defenders lead. And the final rounds, come on Moana. CRUSADERS Rugby Satyrs need to get out of cruise mode to win this. And what's going on with the Satyrs this week? Just a really slow start. To be honest, oh, what a kick from Pellegrini. He's just got about 70 metres of a kick there from Pellegrini. But he's covered a huge amount. He has to be man of the match. I know Savia's doing well, right? But Pellegrini has been phenomenal. In fact, I don't think he could have done much more right in this game. Both front rows going up, both jumping for the ball. And now Moana Pasifika have got themselves another turnover. A bit of a miscommunication at line-out time. Taylor, even though he missed the call, still have to throw it. Who won the Blues versus Matatu game? Anyone know the score? I actually don't. If I'm being honest, Moana going to choke. CR's music rocks. Well, they're currently sitting 10 metres out from the line. Jonathan Tamatine going across to Tavita Offa. And well, go Crusaders, says Vani. And Matatu managed to get the win, says Studs Race. Almost a steal in the breakdown. And yeah, the clean turnover from Cody Taylor. Matatu won. And keep pushing through, lads. Says Blues Nate. Moana Pasifika, they've actually managed to take that one straight back in the breakdown. It was on the side of the Crusaders for about a good 3 seconds. And Moana have it again. Big bump off there. And Slow getting back up to his feet. 5 metres out from the line. Trying their best to Mikey Williams. Went for the turnover in the breakdown, but no clear release. Which now brings another advantage. Chris Apua. Crusaders can't afford to give away too many more penalties in this region of the field either, or else they might find themselves with their second yellow card of the game. And by him going to sleep, so enjoy your sleep, Vani. Now going off to the right-hand side. Nice inside ball from Jonathan Tamatina with the no-look pass. Could this one be the one that secures this game? Pasifika to be carded soon, although the Crusaders could find themselves in the exact same boat. Only a couple metres out from the line. Ball pops out for Tamatina. New advantage is in play. Now all breaking through. Miracle Faialangi scores. He's been on fire this season. The Moana Pasifika coaching box is going crazy. And Miracle Faialangi gets his 4th for the season. Matatu won 29 points to 37. And Pasifika to be carded soon. And yes, Moana, well, Faialangi, he has got a lot of skill, this big man. I would have been a rich man if I put money on Moana tonight. Yeah, anyone who has gone for the underdog is going to be pretty happy with the outcome here. Unless, of course, there's still time. 17 minutes remaining. Tana Umanga almost showed half. Well, there wasn't a smile there. There was a clap, though, which is more than you'd normally get out of Tana. Yes, Fantasy Miracle says 9-0. Yes, says NZ Riot. And Crusaders falling off the tackles. Yeah, and they just struggled to drag him down. Pellegrini also. Huge credit to this man. He's sitting 5 from 5, which in total has added an extra 11 points for the Moana Pasifika side, and now he's added 2 more. He's got 13 points today off the tee. I think he also scored the try earlier on too. Faialangi is having a great season. Yeah, looking like a real impact player for Moana Pasifika. And that's the thing. When you've got a guy like that in the same loose forward trio as Adi Savia, and Faialangi gets talked about and praised as much as he had, you know he's doing something right. I bet for everyone, even the kids, says Drape. And well, just got back, so now they're leading by 16, Moana Pasifika. And that is exactly what they needed to do. Take their opportunities when they have them, because it's easy to go into the mindset of, we're leading by a lot, we'll just hang on. But you can't afford to do that. You have to make sure you keep on scoring, or else they can come back into it. Waratah's going to lose next week again, says Anoi. I used to live in Taupo, says Novum. And have it the Crusaders. Oh! Terrible time for a yawn. But Tuna Tuitama getting the interception. I was trying to talk, but it's very hard to do so. Will Jordan didn't score it, or at least didn't put it down inside of his in-goal area. Awful pass there, bud. There's SS2. Dallas McLeod throwing it to absolutely no one. Right, they're just checking to see if it's going to be held back. Wow, how exciting. This would have paid a great odds pre-game. Yeah, I think Moana were about $13 underdogs. I told you how far the aging line can go. And also we have the Osborne and Rotorua. Tuna Tuitama just not quite getting away from Macca Springer. And then, I don't think Jordan got that one down, but Shefiaki. Oh, no, in fact, it's a knock-on from Moana Pasifika, so that should actually be... Should be the scrum, but I think it's going to be a goal line dropout. Yes, it is. Moana Pasifika win and keep this margin. I win $27.50. And someone needs his bed, says all in the game. And we are doing an all-nighter tonight as well, but I feel like I'll reach that stage of being too tired, and then that's when the energy comes back. Even though we're still, with the exception of a couple yawns, pretty wide awake. That's going to be nicely run forward again from Miracle Whaialangi. Tackled by Scott Barrett. Now Moana Pasifika going short side to Tom Savage. They can score one more try here. It will be game over. Keep a margin of 13 plus. Says Nomam, how exciting to think these two teams are the next two home games for the Highlanders. Makes a couple of good nights of rugby under the roof, says Jason. And Crusaders have zero connect between inside backs and the midfield. And yeah, I mentioned it earlier on. It's crazy to say because, Pepe Sanapatafilo with the pick and go. Moana get another one and they're up to 43 points now. What is happening for this Crusaders side? And yo, brother, far out, this will be interesting. Says Maxi, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. You were actually mentioned earlier on a live stream whether or not we had talked to you. I said it had been a little while, but it is good to see you once again. And yeah, definitely not the game that many people would have been expecting. Pepe Sanapatafilo just breaking out of another tackle. That was to Mighty Williams that he shoved up, or shoved off, I should say. Bro, come on, Crusaders, says Abel. Chiefs will be very happy, extremely happy, the Chiefs, because this will take away some of the Crusaders' points differential as well. Like, this is insane, the way that it is currently sitting. As you can see there, points differential for the Crusaders was 52. Heading into this one, Pellegrini gets the kick over, so that's going to make the differential in this one 23, which actually drops them below the Reds as well in current points differential. Well, not quite, actually. Now that I think about the maths, that was actually not true. I told you, Hamish, says Davida. And we have got there to say this try. I won't be if Moana try right after, says Mr. All-In. And Crusaders have been humbled and embarrassed. Yes, says Stephen. Moana versus the Force for the People's Final, says Hanoi. A major WTF moment. Yeah, absolutely. But not just for the Crusaders to lose, but to lose by the looks of it by 13 plus. Something that wasn't even thought of early on. I'm trying to think back to what I said in the intro, but I think I said it was either going to be... I think I said it was going to be either close or Crusaders dominate. I didn't say that Moana were going to dominate. Not ideal. And can they get 50? Isn't it crazy to think that we're saying that, though? Can they get 50 and that's not referring to the Crusaders? It's Moana Pasifika, who are sitting on 45 points and have been just the better team by far out there on the field. Big run forward. And now almost a steal in the breakdown from Moana Pasifika. Was there any yellow today for the Crusaders? Just the one of Cullen Grace. And during that period, Moana Pasifika scored 2 tries. This is outstanding. Well done, Moana. Very unique game. Yeah, definitely the most... I don't want to say head-scratching game so far of the competition, but it's definitely made people see that even though they are ranked lower and they were in last place heading into this game, Moana Pasifika have a good side. And when Pellegrini's in form, when Havili's doing brilliantly, when their forwards with the loose forward trio of Savia, Whaialangi and Pai are all going, makes it hard. Like, hand the errors. The Crusaders have only dropped the ball 3 times. And Moana have conceded more penalties. So every stat, with the exception of time in opposition 22, that is 12 minutes 30 for Moana Pasifika. But like, not many of the stats are that bad for the Crusaders. But Moana just keep on scoring. Crusaders had 90% of their tackles earlier on, now that I think about it as well. Malani Matawao, he will make his way onto the field. That is going to be for Miracle Whailangi. So I think a little bit of a reshuffle here. Solomon Alai Malo actually going to be packing down on the scrum. And this is amazing, says SS2. Now going off, drop ball there from Matawao, who's only just made his way onto the field. But it's still on the side of Moana Pasifika, something in Moana Pasifika water tonight, and they want it. And I want it, says Bay's man. O'Connor will get dropped for next week if they lose. The thing is, though, he's done all right, James O'Connor. He's actually been one of the better players on the field for the Crusaders. I think he's had maybe, I don't want to jinx it and get it completely wrong, but I want to say 2 line breaks in this one, or at least defenders beat him. We'll have a quick check just to make sure that we are on the right track, but only 10 minutes or so remaining here. Crusaders will be lucky to get within 7 to get the bonus point as we currently sit. Yeah, definitely a day that they will soon want to forget. And Land Cruisers versus mountain bikes. Yeah, James O'Connor, he's had 35 metres gained, 1 clean break, 4 defenders beaten. So, he's had a pretty good run. Another penalty to Moana Pasifika. Crusaders getting something to Moana about. I assume that's Moan and yep. And we have got there Alia Nate ambushed in the night. And nothing going right for the Crusaders. And Moana came out, caught Crusaders off guard, quick tries in the first half. And I would start to think now, it's going to be 2 New Zealand sides that have been defeated by Moana Pasifika for going with lackluster lineups. But the thing is, they haven't even been that poor in terms of selection, skill and player-wise. It's just, you choose this game to rest guys and you get punished. That's a solid game from O'Connor, says Matthew. And a very good evening from Brisbane, Hamish. How are you, Malalava? To any Usos out there, says James. Draw will beat Crusaders next week in Suva, says him. Honestly, they've got a really good chance. And looking forward to that game now. I feel like it's added a little bit more with how Moana have gone here. Chris Apua, now tackled round the halfway line. Wanting the turnover, wasn't able to get it. Off to the left, a little shuffle from Pipisana Patafilo. Moana got a bonus point right. At the moment, they are in a position of 5 points, yes. Which is, once again, something that's even more insane to say. Now just 9 minutes remaining. Rob Penny is poo, says Demon. If they had won this game, they were going to be top of the table, though. So, yes, this game's gone wrong for them, but with the exception of this one and their other loss, they are still right up there on the table compared to last year. Alan Craig. Off now, Matavao going to the right-hand side. Pellegrini. Looked like it was going to be a drop ball there from Moana, but turning it into a grub. I better go sleep now. Congratulations to Moana Pasifika for the great game. Okay, TAB, keep underestimating Moana with the odds, please. Making me rich. Says Knight. Now Crusaders back in possession with Mitch Drummond. Playing as the replacement 9. No Kyle Preston. Will Jordan goes through. Passes off now to Drummond, who's just jogging. Gets it off to Quinton Strange. And now another loose ball. Picked up by Mighty Williams, or at least attempted to do so. Cullen Grace regathers, but it was knocked on initially by Williams beforehand. Moana with the Uso Hearts. Penny is less now, probably. I call him Rod Lead. Moana 13 is a beast. Yeah, Pipisana Patafilo, ex-guy from the Hurricanes, hardly got game time. And when you look at who was at the Hurricanes at the time, maybe it was justified, but he's been sensational since going to Moana Pasifika, and it's the perfect example of put a guy in a right environment and they'll be able to thrive. Look at someone like a Levi Moore. He was at Moana Pasifika having a standout season. He's gone to the Crusaders and he hasn't quite found his feet for them. But, yeah, Pipisana Patafilo, the door was open and he well and truly stomped through it. There's more Moana Pasifika playing awesome than Crusaders playing particularly bad. Yeah, like I said, some of the stats overall, the Crusaders don't look like a side that would be losing, at least not by the margin that they are. Crusaders have had more, or roughly the same metres gained. They've had 23 defenders beaten. Clean breaks, they've had 5. They've just, they've had more turnovers. They're just losing, by a big margin. couple of the crucial tackles haven't been made, I think, for the Crusaders. It should be Moana penalty for Crusaders playing ball on the ground. Says Hanoi. Yeah, well, it was a little bit of fiddling there from Williams, as well as Grace, actually. You keep us interested, Hamish. My Crusaders can't find a breakthrough. Malani Matavao off to Apua. Tackled low by Cullen Grace. Or Malani Matavao tried to almost get that penalty for offside. Looks for the offload. Great hands from William Harvili. Been able to say that all throughout the whole game, and that time it's going to be knocked on from Pellegrini. One of his first errors that we have seen. It's going to be the advantage played for the Crusaders deep inside of their own area. And the advantage is now over Macca Springer. He's going to kick it almost a full length of the field. And Hardy wants to say 3 babies, 2 adults, a dog, cat, and a horse from Burning Volcano. Here's Drape. And we have got the loss to the Brumbies. More turnovers than a Kiwi Bakery. Says Thorfinn, a nice Moana, says Saga. That is a great catch from William Harvili. What? Says Stuart Moore. Anyone who's just tuning in now, the scoreboard is not accidentally reversed. This is what we are sitting at with 5 minutes remaining. And just woke up, says Stuart. So yeah, we probably woke up to quite the surprise, I would say. Now quick hands from the Crusaders. Macca Springer goes on the outside to Will Jordan. Now Shea Fiaki steps in, offloads to Drummond. That will be the try to the Crusaders. I think, yes, it does take away the bonus point of Moana Pasifika. Talkback Rugby Radio will be funny on Monday. Back to reality for the Crusaders. Chiefs versus Hurricanes final. Says the Sporting Kiwi. And come on, here we go. Only a try a minute needed, says Suds Race. Well, they have got the try for this minute. But there's still a few more. They do need to happen. Are you doing another match tonight? So we've got another, I think it's 8 matches or so that we are doing today. Next game that we are covering will be at 9:35 p.m. and that is actually going to be a sevens match between South Africa and Uruguay. Then we've got some quarterfinals of the sevens that we are going to be doing on the channel, followed by 3 games of the URC, which is going to take us right through to 10:35 a.m. New Zealand time tomorrow morning, so 14 hours time. So that's the plan. And then also we got sevens all throughout tomorrow too. I mean, Super Rugby, no more Super Rugby though. I hope upcoming South African URC games aren't as wacky as the day has started, says Robert. Yeah, wouldn't it be a great day for South African Rugby if it was to go badly in the URC. We did see the Stormers lose narrowly up against Ulster yesterday. The Blitzboks have been knocked out of the Hong Kong Sevens. Not cheapy this game to Mighty, says Knight Rider. He's leading the men's sevens. At the moment, the rankings-wise, it is Argentina, who have made it through to the quarterfinals alongside Fiji and Spain. Fiji-Spain will be playing off against each other. Going for the turnover and the breakdown was Sama Malolo. Being told to get out of it. Score currently sitting 29 points to 45. The Crusaders, they're 16 points down. Macca Springer passes to Che Fiaki. They're still looking for the possibility of getting themselves the bonus point for being within 7. Crusaders trying to make it more respectable. No dear. Oh, that's gone right off the side of the boot for William Harvili, and it will be the line out now for the Crusaders. This is a second string Crusaders team. Little bit of a mix. Definitely not their strongest lineup. But at the same time, I do think that like the team that they've selected can't be completely to blame. And I think Moana have just played a tremendous game of rugby. Now, 45 points to 29, only 3 minutes remaining too. This might make the Blues bottom of the ladder. As usual, love the commentary, Hamish, you the man, bro. See you message, thank you very much. And we have got there, did New Zealand beat the Box in the sevens? They certainly did, yes. And they did beat them by more of a margin, like 7 or more, which meant that South Africa got knocked out of the comp. Stupid Spider Sense. I got to go, Kiwi lads, everyone. Another crime solved downtown. And great scalp nailed to the most by Moana. Chips for Christchurch, chicken for Pacifica. Cheers, Hamish. Excellent commentary as always, mate. Says Kurno Week. Thank you very much. Another advantage in favour of the Crusaders with 2.5 minutes left on the clock. I'll be honest, this has been the fastest Super Rugby game in terms of the feeling of time that I think we've had. Maybe that is also because we didn't do 5 minutes of build-up, though. We did start pretty much at kickoff. Will Jordan trying to find a gap and just can't get there. Sama Malolo manages to take him down. Dallas McLeod wrestled towards the touchline. 17-7 to the All Blacks over the Blitzbox, and Moana Chahu says ESAS. All right, gameplay 1 to 10 for both teams. Crusaders, honestly, like a couple defensive errors in there, but I'd still give them, like, it sounds crazy to say, but they've probably been a solid 6, you know? Exactly, South Africa not big on 7s, though, as full ruggers, so they will still be hoping for a lift of their spirits later. Yeah, unfortunately, there was a patch, and we actually witnessed it on the channel too. The Blitzbox, when they were on their massive winning streak, everyone seemed to be supporting them, or at least a massive majority of South African rugby supporters. And then as soon as they started losing, this is not even an exaggeration, support for the Blitzbox dropped about 85%. And it wasn't just numbers-wise for us, but in terms of just, you know, interaction on social media for the site, it just plummeted. As soon as they stopped winning, people left them. And like, even so, like currently they sit 4th in the overall standings. This league will hurt them a bit, but they're a tremendous side that sometimes it feels like they're a little bit hard done by. As this crew's worst game ever. The thing is though, result-wise, it's up there, but gameplay-wise, like they didn't have a bad game. They made some big errors, don't get me wrong. That one is missed there for Moana Pasifika, so that is going to mean 30 seconds remaining, 45 points to 29, still the score. But like, maybe, I'll have to watch it again, but I feel like the Crusaders, attacking-wise, it's let them down a bit, but like, they haven't been awful. The bump-offs have been the big one, though. But now Sama Malolo, this will be the first time, if we do see another try scored, that the Crusaders have not managed to bring up. Oh, Cullen Grace and Chris Apua having a bit of a push and a shove. The ball is on the side of Moana again. Go for the 50, says Eric. There is the siren. The thing is, Moana Pasifika can still gain something from this game, and that is a bonus point if they can get one more try. Doesn't look like they're going to go for it, though. Pellegrini kicks it out in a massive result at Apollo Project Stadium. The win for Moana Pasifika over the Crusaders. 45-29, massive smiles in the coaching box, and even bigger ones out there on the field. Great commentary, Amy, says David the Moth. Thank you very much, mate. So the next game that we are doing is in around 40-ish minutes time. Aaron Major having a celebration in the coach's box. I think that was Aaron Major. I could be wrong, though, but a massive result for Moana Pasifika. They will no longer be last on the standings. Cody Taylor congratulating Moana there too. Artie Savia having a big game, but Pellegrini for me is the man of the match. This was not what I expected ever. Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting a result like this. He got a massive hug from William Havili there, Pellegrini, for what he was able to do. And they've now beaten the Hurricanes and the Crusaders this year, Moana Pasifika. Managing to do it in Christchurch too. But yeah, like I said, next live stream in about 40 minutes time. That will be the matchup taking place between South Africa and Uruguay. Throughout that 40 minutes time until then, I am going to be scheduling the quarterfinal streams, the URC streams, all of the matches that are just around the corner. As the only there was only one real sport for the White South Africans, 15s rugby. Says Robert. I mean, Usta isn't. He's in the 7 setup. Kua Nokia. He's looking pretty strong at the moment too. Good to see the channel doing awesome. Correct, brother. Says the champion. And thank you very much, Maxi. Greatly appreciated you popping in to say hello. We will need to have a catch-up at some point in the near future. And unless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for the next one.